Easy to cure. How about now? Are you hearing me now? Sorry about that. Oh, gosh, too early in the morning for old Grandpa up here in Alaska. Wanted to start doing a 7 a.m. live stream so people on the opposite side of the planet could see them. Some folks had requested it, and man, got up late and had technical difficulties this morning, so the live stream didn't start till 7:24. My apologies. Hey, okay, everyone's on there. You got me now. You can hear me. Excellent. Awesome. Awesome. Whew. I tell you what, 7 a.m. is awful early in the morning for old Grandpa to do a live stream. It's a cold, wet, rainy day, and fact is, when it's cold and wet like this, it stays dark outside, and I just slept in. No excuses. I just slept in, so sorry to hear about that. Hello, Lucky Vapes. Hey, Bob, Rhonda, nice to see you guys. UK, see, that's what I'm talking about. See, now it's more normal time of day for you guys over on the other side of the planet. So I'm glad. Cheryl Bright Horizon Sanctuary. Well, good morning from Wisconsin. Hello, Richard Stawali. Good morning, Dick. Hey, how you doing? Germany. Wow, nice. Hello, everybody, and good morning from up here in South Central Alaska. It's cold, wet, rainy, 54 degrees outside right at the moment, and this is the first of my Wednesday morning live streams. I'm sure they'll get easier for me when I'm over on the East Coast. But it is what it is. And even then, I'm really late with this. I said I would do them at 7 a.m. Eastern time. So I'm doing it at 7 a.m. Alaska time. So I'm already, 4 hours behind the clock anyway. So I'm going to have to make some adjustments in that. Someone hand Carl a cup of Joe. Hey, Judy, how you doing? I'm having a little carbonated caffeine. Stuff's really bad for me, but there it is anyway. So yesterday, I worked on a video, on a packing video. You know, you guys have all these unpacking videos you see on YouTube. Well, people order something, and then you'll see them opening up the box like it's some, kind of big secret. Well, yesterday I recorded a packing video for all the stuff that I'm packing to take with me as I go sail around the world starting next month. Thanks to Mr. Bob, who's on here at Sailing Doodles. Hi from Lake of the Woods. Hey, Brad, nice to see you. So, yeah, we did a packing video yesterday of my scuba gear. Actually, scuba, snorkeling, and freediving gear. And that video is getting edited and should be out this afternoon or tomorrow. We'll see how it goes from there. Sailing Salty Olives. Hey, guys, how are you? Good morning. From the sunny south, yeah. Excellent. I am doing awesome. How are things in the Salty Olives? Hey, Mike, thank you, sir. Appreciate the donation. That's awful nice of you. Welcome to the farm. So for those of you guys that are new here and are just following along, what my channel is about is I'm in the process of selling my farm up here in Alaska. That was my dog barking, by the way. She does that for no reason whatsoever from time to time. Still selling the farm up here. We're supposed to close here on the 15th. Hopefully on the 15th. And then I'll be heading down to Montana to take care of some stuff. Then over to Florida after visiting my kids in Ohio briefly. And then over to Puerto Rico, where I am buying a wonderful boat, a CNC 37, being sold to me by Sailing Doodles. He says, bottom and dinghy being cleaned today. Awesome. I love having my dinghy cleaned. Somehow you just can't say that without that sounding indecent, Having my dinghy cleaned. All right. Olives are still working on the boat. Yeah, well, I'm afraid that's an occupational hazard, isn't it? Working on the boat's just something that you got to do. But, I follow a lot of sailing channels, and I have now for decades. Hey, Christine, how you doing, darling? I've been following them for decades, and I hear all these sailors lament about, oh, geez, I got to work on my boat and how the boats are fixing, boats at exotic places and stuff. And You know, you got to fix your car, you got to fix your house, you got to mow your lawn, you got to fix the plumbing. You know, you're constantly working on your house and your car too when you live on the dirt. So it's really not that much more work, and you do have the benefit of being in exotic places. So what the hell? Hey, Terry, nice to see you. Dick, nice to see you. Hey, Michael. Hello, Grandpa. Glad to see your dream coming true. Thanks for the advice on new dogs. New dogs on the boat. Have a safe trip. Okay, cool. Yeah, dogs on the boat, you know, it is problematic. There are some countries I'm not going to be able to go to because of it, but as a general rule, it should be fine. So, rudder got to come off. Oh, man, salty olives. Sorry to hear that, dude. What is the problem? Is it the packing on the rudder need to be repacked? Is that what it is? Or does the rudder need to be rebuilt? I've seen all kinds of things happen. Don't worry about sleeping in. I wish I could have. Yeah. I actually, guys, I have to be honest. I said I would start these things at 7 a.m. Eastern time. What is it now? 11 o'clock Eastern time? So I not only did I sleep in, I didn't even make 7 a.m. Alaska time. So I'm going to have to start getting up wee hours of the morning to do a 7 a.m. Eastern time. So until I sell the cabin here and move to the East Coast, probably going to be a 7 a.m. Alaskan time live stream. So, rebuilt if push comes to shove. Okay. Bob, how's the new boat going? Did you buy it? Yeah, Lucky Vapes is asking Sailing Doodles a question. I'd be interested to know that too, Bob. How'd the new boat shape up? What does it look like while you're on here? Gosh, first thing in the morning, I hack a lot, guys. I don't know about you guys, but I live in a moldy old cabin up here in Alaska, and so it takes a lot to clear my throat in the morning. You thought about calling me, but didn't. El Paso, Texas. Hey, Scott, welcome. I'm glad you made it. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. This channel is about me going to be going sailing and cruising. Something I've been dreaming about and passionate about for decades now. And really excited to finally get to this chapter of my life. It has been costly. It has been costly. I'm selling the farm, selling literally everything that I own. And, you know, I'm not just some like guy in an apartment or something. When I say I'm selling everything I own, I'm selling 5 decades worth of items that I've collected, plus all the farm equipment and farm gear. So already sold all the farm's livestock. I mean, it's old tractors and 4-wheelers and hunting equipment and guns and bows and sporting goods and tools out the yin-yang. I have to get down everything that'll fit on a 37-foot boat with me, and that's not very much. So emphasis will be on the scuba gear and dive gear and fishing tackle. I have a lot of that. In fact, my next video after I do the packing video on the scuba gear, I'm going to do a packing video on my fishing tackle. I think I've got somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 pounds worth of fishing tackle. I'm not exactly sure. I'm gonna have to go through and look, and that doesn't include the shrimp traps and crab traps. It's just the rods, reels, and lures. I think I've got maybe 200 pounds worth of that stuff. So, gonna have to sort through all that, and I'll videotape that and show you what kind of stuff you want to take with you if you're gonna go sail around the world and plan on feeding yourself out of what you catch. So let's see. We have a question on here. Hope all goes well. It'll all go well, man. Even if it goes badly, it'll go well. So, Bob's heading to the boat on Monday. Awesome. That's the boat in California you're going to go look at. Man, I wish you all the best. I hope that boat works out for you. It sounds like a really nice boat. So, now, if you're going to do live streams for Europe, you might want to try to do is 2 hours later. This way, people in the UK, Ireland. 2 hours later? So, what, noon my time? Or 9 o'clock my time? Got to work all this out. Okay. Well, Mike, I'll take that under advisement. Let me see what I can do. We see the boat. We've agreed to a deal in theory. Just depends on how everything is in person. Oh, cool, Bob. Excellent. Awesome. Well, good luck with it, man. I think that boat will be nice for you. And it'll be interesting to see the transition from you being in the Caribbean and now being in Cali. And I imagine if you're in Cali, the idea would be to head down the coast into the Sea of Cortez around Mexico for a little while, then down to Panama, or are you going to take off from California and head straight to French Polynesia or Hawaii or something? Can't wait to see you and the doodles out sailing. Looking forward to it. Oh, man, Scott, you and me both, brother. You and me both. It's 16:30 here. Okay, Mike, I'll see you about that. So you're saying 16:30. So that's 4:30 in the afternoon. So if I go 2 hours later, that gets you evening time? Is that what you're saying? Huh. Okay. Guess I have to work on my international time zone scheduling. People will be home from work. Okay. Everyone's still at work in Europe. All right, well, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do a 9 a.m. Alaska time on Wednesdays. And that way I'll catch everybody in Europe at home after work. That's even better for me. It gives me a chance to get up and take care of all my morning chores and stuff. Not that I really have much morning chores left anymore. Now that I got rid of all my critters, I'm not exactly out feeding and taking care of everything anymore, but which is kind of weird for old grandpa. I've been doing that every morning for my entire life, and now I'm not. So, have you drawn an outline of the boat in the yard to gauge how much stuff to keep? Well, CJ Mac, I've owned a couple boats before. The CNC 37 will be the largest of the boats that I've owned. I've owned a 30 and a 31. So going to 37 is a lot more room, and yet really it's not a lot more room. So no, I'm really cutting down a lot of my stuff down to bare bones. But between my scuba gear and my fishing gear and my camera gear and my clothes and the dog, I have a lot of stuff. So going to be a problem. Good morning from Manitoba. Hey, Jim, how you doing? Bob says, yeah, south of the Bahamas, San Diego to Cabo. November and south in March, decide cross Pacific through the canal back into the Caribbean. Okay, cool. Hey, Grizz, good morning, buddy. How are you? How's things in Oregon? Lord Vader. Hey, Carl, always look forward to your videos and especially your live chats. Well, good, Lord Vader. I'm glad. Morning, Grizz. Don't forget to make a packing video on medical emergency stuff. Just found out the hard way that my boat is lacking. Yeah, Dick, that is a good one. Excuse me. That's a good one. Unfortunately, I'll do that once I'm on the boat because my medical kit, I used to be an EMT and I have my jump bag and stuff. It's in stores in Montana. So I have to get that, take with me on the boat. And then I'll do one once I have that. I can't do that from up here in Montana. I mean, normally, you have all the basic stuff, but with my EMT jump kit that I have, I mean, it's a professional, fire department issued jump kit. So I got oxygen in there and all kinds of stuff. So nasal cannulas and neck braces and all that kind of important stuff. So I'll do one then. Just got here on my lunch break at work. Hey, Nana, I'm glad you made it. Hey, Captain Scurvy. This is the time for live feeds for me. I'm usually out sailing on the weekends. Okay, well, I'm going to be doing the weekend one on Sundays and then another one during the week. Still working on the time for Wednesdays, maybe 9 a.m. Alaska time. What's that? 9, 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, I guess, on the East Coast. So, hey, Greg Thomas, how you doing? Hotter than two rats working in a woodside. Hey, Chris. Oh, you're funny. You're funny. Stuart Hobbs, will you be putting a wind vane on your boat? Stuart, I don't know yet. Good question. Good question. The boat has a lot of solar. Not a lot of solar, but it's got solar panels and a good battery bank. But interesting about putting on wind vanes. I really enjoy the quiet of shutting off the engine and sailing. And I enjoy that where you only hear the wind in the sails. And those wind vanes they're noisy on a boat. They make a lot of noise, and so that disturbs my peace. So I'll have to think long and hard about putting a wind vane on. They do generate a lot of power, no doubt about it. They can really generate a lot of power and put a lot of power in the battery bank, especially when you're on anchor. But at a cost of being really noisy. So I don't know. You have a very interesting life story. Someone should do a profile on you. Okay. Thank you, I guess. My life is what my life is. You know, I don't know how interesting it's been, but it's going to get a whole lot more interesting here in the very near future. Bob, you got to go. Take care, buddy. We'll see you. I have to edit videos. I know what that's like, man. Have fun. Good luck on that boat. Good luck on that boat. Sheet to tiller steering. Okay, sheet to tiller steering, for those of you guys that don't know, is a way of connecting your foresail up and rigging it so that it controls the steering, and you have to have a pretty precise, well-balanced boat. Not a lot of weather helm, and what it does is the winds will blow the sail, and by blowing the sail, it'll turn the wheel up into the wind, and it's a way of balancing the boat. I'm not an experienced enough sailor at this point. Lily, go lay down. You don't need over here. Go lay down. You're just knocking into the table. Get. She's being difficult, guys. Hold on. Maybe she just wants some attention. Come here. Come here. There we go. There you go. You just want some loving this morning? You're going to say hello to the people? You're going to say hello to the people? No? No? You just want some attention? All right, get down. Get down. Now you got hairs all over me. Okay. Good girl. Kennel. Kennel. There we go. Now you be out of the way for a little bit. Sorry about that, guys, but you know, she's my main lady, my main squeeze. Got to take care of you. Lucky Vape, see ya. We'll take care of you. Hey, Maui Lay, how you doing? This is a good time for video. Okay, inside instead of a wind vane. Yeah, instead of a wind vane. What do you mean, Dick? Instead of a wind vane, you can't use sheet steering. All that does is steer. That doesn't generate power for you. Huh. You gotta be confused now, but no, the wind vane, I don't know about adding a wind generator like that on the back. Oh, wait a minute. You're talking about a wind vane for steering. I thought you were talking about wind power generators. No, my boat will not have a wind vane. I'll just use the autopilot with the solar system. Sorry about that. It's first thing in the morning, guys. I'm not quite awake yet this morning. Sorry about that. Yes, I see what you mean now. For steerage, no, the boat has an autopilot. If it gets really rough, then I'll hand steer, and that's my penance for being out there someplace where I shouldn't be in that kind of weather conditions. But I don't see me adding a wind vane on the back of the boat. I might change my mind and add one at some point, because I'm going to be doing a lot of big ocean crossings. They just kind of get in the way. And I really would like to rig the back of my boat with a dive platform, because I do a lot of scuba diving, and I wouldn't be able to do that if I had a wind vane on the back, or at least it would be a lot more difficult to do that. I'm going to put a fold-up dive platform so I don't have to pay the extra footage at marinas and stuff. But be that as it may, I don't know. Jury's still out on that, so... Hey, Keith Butler, my day's going great, man. My day's going great. Got up late, overslept, had technical issues this morning, but you know, we overcome and we go forward. So, Mike A, got to sign off. Keep it going. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it, buddy. Wind vanes. I thought that was like a wind sock for direction of wind and how much. No, a wind vane, Judy, is a mechanical device that sits on the back of your sailboat. It has a oar, basically, that sticks down in the water for steering. And the wind direction, as the wind pushes on the wind vane, it'll turn side to side. And in doing so, mechanically, it offsets to the piece down below. They work in opposites of each other. And what it does is it'll hold your steering, your course. You can set a course for a particular angle to the wind, and the boat will just steer that course with the wind vane. It works as an autopilot. They're very effective. They're cost effective. They tend to hold up very well. They can break down mechanically, like anything else can. But a well-maintained wind vane will take it completely across the ocean without having a hand steer. So they're awesome. But they are in the way because they mount on the back of the boat. So make sure you bring plenty of beans for those days that there ain't enough breeze. Yeah, well, that's going to happen, Chris. That's going to happen. Hey, Grandpa, I entered as Bob was leaving. Did I hear him right? Did he buy the 64-foot boat or at least make an offer on it? Keith, as I understand it, he has the terms and conditions of the purchase worked out on the boat, subject to his personal inspection, and he's going to be heading there on Monday, I believe he said, to go check the boat and see it in person. So, but I think he has his deal worked out, subject to him actually getting there and checking the boat. So, can you tell us the any-ba? Jim Herring, what are you talking about? Can you tell us the any-ba? Don't know what that means. Oh, that's cool. 64-foot. Hell, that's going to be twice to Bob. Yeah. Bob wanted a bigger boat, so he had room for some people on board. That's, he wanted to carry some more crew and staff. I would like to too, but I'm not as deep a pocket as he is right now. So, hello from New Jersey. Hey there. How you doing? Sorry I have to go back to work. Bye. Hey, Stuart. Take care, buddy. We'll see you later. Any chance of hearing about the dark side of sailing in Mexico or the Caribbean? Ah, the dark side. Let's see. Well, a lot to be said on the dark side. I mean, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. A boat is basically a cork in the water with a lot of holes drilled through it for all the plumbing and stuff. Things corrode, get old, you have leaks, it can sink, you can get hit by whales. I mean, there's a ton of things that could happen. Fact is, though, it's still safer than driving your car down the highway. So there's not a whole lot to the dark side. Places in Mexico are safe. Places in Mexico are not safe, like anywhere else in the world. Hey, I wouldn't go to a lot of neighborhoods in America because they're not safe. So saying, you're not going to go to a foreign country because it's not safe there is prudent to avoid some areas. Like I wouldn't want to sail up to Somalia, for example. But I have no problem sailing over to Egypt. I wouldn't sail up to Jordan or Syria right now because of the political instability. I wouldn't go to Venezuela right now. But I'd go just a little north of there. That's okay. So, the dark side of sailing is no different than anything else in life. I mean, I wouldn't go to some neighborhoods in Detroit. Hell, there's some neighborhoods in Wisconsin. Every state in the United States practically has a bed. Up here in Alaska, there's some parts of downtown Anchorage, Alaska, I won't go into because of the gang activity that goes on in there. Even up here in Alaska. Up here in Alaska, we have we have Mexican gangs up here in Alaska, if you can imagine that. Okay? We have Mexican gangs up here in Anchorage, Alaska. It's crazy. Crazy. They must be freezing their bippies off up here. But that's why I laugh about it, Mexicans, they live in a warm climate, so they're not accustomed to being up here for 3 weeks of minus 30. But nonetheless, we have a gang problem up here in Anchorage, Alaska. So Keith Smeller says, Grandpa, I'm working extra hard to finish my RV bill so I can try to be in Florida by the time you get there to help you with some of the refit. Hey, Keith, that'd be awesome, man. That'd be awesome. And no problem answering questions. I love to. Love to. So y'all better hit that like button or the dolphin gets it. Hey, Chris. Oh, man. Jim, what about the dealings with Day T? What about the dealings with Day T? Okay, Jim, again. What about the dealings with Day T? I don't know what the rest of that question is. So, selling salty olives says, by the way, guys, Selling Salty Olives is another YouTuber out there. He's got a really nice sailing channel. Check him out. If you just click on his name, Selling Salty Olives, I think there's a link there you can hit to subscribe to his channel. So go ahead and check him out. Good guy. Met a couple last month who just left Venezuela who previously sailed around the world. Yes, Venezuela is having a lot of political instability right now. A lot of government turnovers and stuff. They're having some problems. So not a country I want to visit at the moment. So, what about the dealings with day-to-day stuff? Jim, you mean like the dark side of day-to-day stuff? Is that what you're referring to? I'm going to be showing a lot of that in my channel while out sailing. But you know, sailboats are really well equipped. I mean, let me just give you some examples. I mean, here's the boat that I'm buying. This is the Rough Seas. She's a really nice, well set up 37-foot boat. Here's a picture showing what her interior looks like. So much like the living room of any house that is out there. It has a fully equipped galley with, you know, hot and cold running water. Well, it doesn't have hot water right now. I have to install a hot water heater in it, but it has pressurized water, which is more than I have in my dry cabin up here in Alaska. It's got a propane 3-burner stove. It's got a refrigerator on board, plenty of storage for stuff. So it's not much different than any kitchen on any boat for that matter. It's got sleeping in both the V berth up in the front, and then it's got the quarter berth in the back. The quarter berth, they say, is big enough for 2, but man, you'd have to be right on top of each other if you're my size. But you know, between the V berth and the quarter berth, they're sleeping for 3. It's got a really nice head on it with a shower. So, I mean, the boat's got everything you'd want. So it's set up pretty nice, just like any other house. You know, you've got your kitchen, your bathroom, your living room. Then you've got your cockpit up on top. So, you know, I don't know much about the dark side of it. You've got things you got to be conscious of on the boat, looking for leaks and stuff. But, you know, roofs and houses leak and basements flood. So, you know, it's no real different than a house. It's just a little smaller. So, but you know, having a well-designed, well-built boat should mitigate much in the way of problems that you might have on board. They had to sneak out of Venezuela. Yeah, I could believe that. Venezuela's having some real problems. So, customs. Customs. So you mean like checking in and out of countries? Simple procedure for the most part. There are some countries that make it difficult for people to check in and out, but a lot of countries are accustomed to it and make it a fairly painless situation. You know, make sure you've got your proper boat papers. For me, I also have to have the dog papers, have a good valid passport. It's really not all that difficult, Jim. Something that can be handled pretty easily. So getting in and out of other countries. Now, they do charge fees to enter and exit other countries. Like, you know, $100, $300, you know, somewhere in that price range. Most of them are pretty affordable. And that's not so much for the customs as much as it is to have a cruising permit to sail in their country for a while. Like, I think in the Bahamas, it's like $100 for a boat my size, and that buys me 6 months in the Bahamas to have a cruising permit for the Bahamas. So, not bad. Not bad. Do you have a compressor for your dive tanks? Captain Scurvy, yes. I don't have it yet. I am buying it. Scuba.com has a, oh gosh, I can never remember the name of it. It's something 35, but it basically will fill my 80 cubic inch scuba tank in about 20 minutes. So, and that works well for me because I'm scuba diving. I come up, I need to offload nitrogen. And so in the time it takes to refill the tank, I've offloaded my nitrogen. I can go back and dive again. So I hope that's what hope that answers your question. So, damn Siri, keep hitting the send button before I'm done typing. Yeah, Jim, I understand that. Hot water is overrated. Hot water's overrated. You know, I'm not going to agree with that because I really like taking a hot shower and I like having hot water for dishes. So, but I am installing a hot water heater. Guys, they're not expensive. It's like $400. I can buy a hot water heater. Works off the engine heat, but also can work off of, I think, electric if I'm on shore. So I'm going to install a hot water heater. That way I've got hot water on the boat. Yeah, from what I remember, the videos, the nav station is pretty good on that boat as well. Yeah, Keith, the nav station is pretty good on that boat. However, I may remove the nav station. I don't really need a nav station like that. I'm thinking about removing the nav station and putting in a washer dryer in that location. Maybe. It depends on how long I decide to keep the boat for. So, Captain 10 Star, what does CNC stand for? I have no idea. I probably should know that. I'm sure it's the manufacturer, CNC 37. I never worried too much about that, so I'll have to look that up so I know the answer to that. I do not know what CNC stands for. That's the manufacturer. CNC is the manufacturer. So, sorry, meant to say we all hear about the good stuff about sailing. I was thinking about the stuff that we don't hear. Oh, Jim, I think if you watch these channels, you hear the bad stuff. I think a lot. I think a lot of these people out sailing and out cruising like to whine a lot about how miserable it is having to fix this and fix that on the boat, and woe is me. I think you hear a lot of bad stuff. So, but I'll try to show a fair example of that as I'm out sailing and cruising. Frankly, from my experience, there's just not a whole lot of bad stuff, and what stuff is out there can easily be mitigated by some of your decision making. Hello, Yolando. Glad you made it. Thank you and welcome. I'm glad you are here. Rob Marchetti says, and if I pronounced your names wrong, guys, I'm sorry. At the depths of your diving, is there time restrictions, or is it just the limit of your air supply? Yes and yes. There are recreational limits set for depth as to how deep you should go as a recreational diver. Frankly, everything that I want to see and do is in the top 100 feet of the water column, so I'm usually not in a problem. I swim with a single 80 cubic inch tank, and I'm a big guy and I breathe a lot, so by the time my tank will run out long before any chart tells me I shouldn't be on the bottom anymore. And the charts don't really tell you how long to be on the bottom. You can be on the bottom for as long as you want. It's just when you hit the surface, you have to have a surface interval long enough to offload the nitrogen that your body has absorbed during the dive. You offload some of that as you're ascending. You stop into a safety stop along the way, and you offload the bulk of that as you're ascending. But then you need a certain amount of surface time, and that is a function of how deep you were and how long you were there. There's a formula for calculating that. But then you need to have a certain amount of time up on the surface to get that nitrogen offloaded before you go on your next dive or before you fly in an airplane. So, hope that answers your question, Rob. Let's see, Grandpa, the electronics, from what I remember, was about 75% upgraded, right? To more. Yeah, the electronics, he's got radar and some stuff on there. It'll be fine for what I'll be doing. A handheld GPS is good with me too. So, but yeah, Bob's actually got more electronics than I'm accustomed to, so it'll be fun learning some of that stuff. But I don't anticipate much problem with that, nor do I think it'll need much of an upgrade. So, manual washer was going to go with the boat. I didn't ask him that, Keith. He has that manual washer that you saw Megan cranking on there. I don't know if that's going to go with the boat or not. He probably took that, but if it's there, and I'll use it. So, Jim says, thank you for your info. I'm a landlocked person, and the wife and I are living the dream. Thought you and Sailing Doodles. Through me and sailing. Well, cool, Jim. I appreciate that. And, Jim, I'll try to give you a fair appreciation of it. I know a lot of wives are scared about going sailing and stuff. There are risks, boats sink and people do die out there sailing, but a lot of that can be mitigated. With the technology we have today, you really have a great ability to be able to forecast the weather and pick your weather, your weather windows. You can never sail on a schedule. You don't ever sail. I mean, the way people get hurt is they say, I got to be here on this date. And then they make bad decisions as far as, well, the weather may not be great, but let's go anyway because I got to be here on this date. Don't ever put yourself in that situation. And you won't be out there sailing in weather you shouldn't be out there with. So he says, hell, Grandpa, just head down and hang out with Rick more. Your days will always be interesting. Yeah, Rick does seem to have a pretty good time, doesn't he? Hey, there you go. Steve Vid said CNC stands for the boat designer. I think it's Cuthbert and Cassian. Okay, Cuthbert and Cassian. Interesting. So there you go. That's what CNC may stand for. Best ever I had. Hey guys, how you doing? Always use dive tables and know what your limits are before beginning to dive. Yes, yes. I don't know about your first dive. You really don't need to look at your dive table on your first dive, but you certainly need to refer to your dive table before you do a second dive. Make sure that you've had adequate surface time to offload whatever nitrogen. So, sailing with salty olives. Navionics make great apps, almost replace onboard navigation. Yes, and I have Navionics on my mobile devices. I have an iPad, I have a tablet, and I have my cell phone, which all will have Navionics on them while I'm on board. So that makes that really easy. So, okay. Johnny Hag, hey, from Northern Lake Huron. Hey, Johnny Hag, how you doing? Best ever I had. I repeat, always use dive tables. Yes, I agree. You should always use dive tables. You know, best ever I had, there was an interesting question. I'm obviously involved in some of the Facebook chats and groups on scuba diving groups and underwater video groups and that kind of stuff. And there was a person on there posted that question, you know, about using dive tables. And I'm amazed at how many people don't use them. I mean, a lot of the people responding were saying they don't use them. They use computers now. Obviously, a lot of people have gone to the computers, and I have a dive computer, but I don't rely on that. I still like to take my charts and you know, do the math and know what my time is. From my experience, though, I'm staying less than 100 feet in depth usually, and it takes 20 minutes to refill my tank, and that's sufficient time to offload the nitrogen. So, as a general rule, I'm pretty safe with that mechanism in place. I go and I dive, I come up, I refill my bottle, I go and I dive. Now, on the third or fourth or fifth dive of the day, you're compounding and adding more nitrogen, and so those things have to be looked at. But yeah, you should always use a dive table. Absolutely. Gonna die sooner or later. Why worry about it? Enjoy it now. Tracy, there's something to be said about that. Yep. Justin Carnegie, about Navionic apps, Tanda Malika just hit a reef and sank because they were using Navionics apps. There have been reports of serious errors. Okay, Justin, that's not just Navionics. That's all of the charts. All of the electronic digital charts are off. You have to assume that. You can't just sit here in the dark with your cell phone and say, well, there's a rock 20 feet over there. Bullshit, that rock's right in front of you. You can't do that. You have to assume. I've seen charts where it said for me to go from point A to point B, and there's an island between me and point A and point B. That wasn't on the chart. So the charts are a good reference point. They're a good place to start, but you got to think too. You got to be aware of what you're doing and think. You cannot just rely on them. That's foolish for anybody to sail just by a chart. And a good reason why, if it's nighttime, you better be well offshore. You never sail into an anchorage in the dark, especially, you never sail into an anchorage you don't know in the dark. I've sailed into some anchorages that I know because I knew the anchorages and I knew where I had to be and following my own track and that kind of stuff. But still, digital charts are just a basic reference. Like all charts, they're just a basic reference. You still have to have some seamanship and ability to be able to read the water yourself. So, he said, Grandpa, be back in 10 minutes for some stupid reason. UPS just forgot to drop. All right, go for it, man. Hey, I know what that's like. I had to drive 60 miles yesterday to run down to the post office to pick up some stuff because they couldn't leave it in my damn mailbox. So, and right now I'm buying a crap load of stuff because I'm trying to buy a lot of stuff and get it in here before I go on my trip. So I've been pretty busy. So, no, lunch break over. See you later. Okay, darling, we'll see you later. You take care. Hey, Gramp, CNC, yes, the captain is right. They started back in 1961. Well, there you go. I'm buying a 1984 version. So hopefully, in that 20 years, they figured out they know what they're doing. So best to use several charts to cross-reference. I like to use paper charts or a chart book in conjunction with the electronics and navigation. And I like to offset that by Google Earth. I mean, that may seem odd to a lot of people, but if I have access to the internet, sometimes I'll just pull up Google Earth and look at the aerial photos because that's the real information. You know, that don't lie. And quite often with Google Earth, you can see down into the water a little bit. You know, you can see the watercolors and stuff and see where there may be hazards to navigation. So I find that to be helpful at times, but especially in a lot of places that I'm going to be going, because once I start sailing, I'm going to be hitting a whole slew of places. Well, 90% of the sailing I'm going to be doing is places I've never been before. So it's going to be pretty exciting. Underwater terrain changes as much as dry land. Actually, underwater changes more than dry land. Because underwater, you get a lot of stuff silting up and that kind of stuff building up. So so the underwater topography can change pretty substantially, more so than what you would think on dry land. So you just got to be careful, and you got to think and use your head. You know, you just can't look at a chart. I see this a lot, especially in places like the Bahamas, where they get on the chart, well, it says it's 8 feet here. We've got a 6-foot draft. We'll be fine. No, you won't. You know, you got to keep an eye on that and watch. You can't just say, well, the chart said 8 feet, so I'm 6, I'm going to go. That's a great formula for getting yourself stuck out there. So have you researched dive compressors, and do you know which would be the best for you? Yes, I've researched dive compressors. Yes, I know which one would be the best for me. No, I cannot afford that one, so I'm buying one that will work. That's the short answer. Is it the best dive compressor? No, but it's the one I can afford for now, so that's what I'm going to get. Maybe as my channel builds up and you know, we do better over the years, I can upgrade that to a better compressor. But for now, I'm going to buy the one that you can buy at scuba.com. It's a gasoline powered something 35, and it should work just fine. So it's definitely not the best air compressor, but it is one that will work. Don't forget, if Megan backs out, put me at top of your crew list. Johnny Hag, you can count on that. Absolutely. And I don't know about Megan. And then I should also put out here that there's another fella that I'm working with who's buying a boat in Florida, and I may actually jump on board with him to sail down to Puerto Rico instead of flying down to Puerto Rico. So that might be an interesting change. He and I may take his boat and sail it down to Puerto Rico. So that'll be fun. That could be pretty cool. So using Google Earth is good. Just check the picture. Yes, Greg Thomas, good point. Yeah, some of those pictures can be pretty old on Google Earth. Yep. And I see that a lot up here in Alaska. In the less populated areas, those pictures tend to be older than they are in the more populated areas. Some places up here in Alaska, they don't bother updating them for years. I mean, there's some pictures up here and from Google Earth that are, you know, like 1995 or something. I don't know. They were taken with a Polaroid, all black and white. It's kind of weird. So, Rob Jones, hey Carl, hope you're well. I am, sir. I am, and I hope you're well too. Glad you're here on the live stream. Welcome. Will you wear a bikini, Johnny? Hell no. 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 Oh, hell no. No, 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 no. Yeah, Steve gave you the same answer. Oh, hell no. No. You don't want to see. No, guys. I dive with a rash guard. I have, you know how when you had little babies and you put them in their onesies? I have a onesie that actually, that's what I use when I, whether I'm just swimming, snorkeling, scuba diving, I wear full length pants and full length sleeves. It's a rash guard, and it's to protect me from jellyfish stings and what have you. So I always wear a full cover up when swimming. I'm like an Arab woman in a burqa. You know, I cover up everything when I'm swimming. I look like one of these women from back in the 50s or 40s or 30s, whatever it was. I cover up. I've gotten too many burns and stuff from exposure to critters in the ocean, so I tend to cover up pretty good. So if you use a gasoline-powered dive compressor, make sure the air intake is clear of any exhaust. Yes, yes. You definitely have to be very careful of your wind direction when you're filling your air tanks. I've heard some real horror stories about guys that have had the exhaust from the gasoline engine going right into their intake and really poisoning themselves. So, yeah, got to be careful about that. Something you always got to pay attention to. But, you know, that's kind of like being out there sailing. You know, it's like everything else in life. You just got to pay attention. There are certain things you just got to pay attention to. So, Jim Herring says, oh, come on. Not sure what that's in reference to, but okay. Check out Wikipedia. You have a damn good boat. Yes, it is. Yeah, the CNCs are very good boats. They've been around for a long time. They've got a thick hull. They're a very good boat. They do have some issues with some design parameters, but yeah, as a general rule, the CNCs are very good boats. So, Antonio ASMR. Carl, you're an inspiration. I'm saving for a Catalina 30 and sailing to Hawaii. Well, that's cool, Super Antonio. Hey, I'm interested to know what you do with your ASMR. I've found this to be an interesting anomaly on YouTube with a lot of the channels that are dedicated to that. I, in fact, have watched a few for the purposes of relaxation, and it's an interesting thing. I've often thought as a YouTube creator how I could add or implement some ASMR techniques into my videos in order to get that kind of reaction, you know what I'm talking about, getting that kind of reaction from folks, you know. So I'm interested in learning more about that. Will you be getting any cooking tips? Yes, Jim. I'm going to be doing a series called Hook to Fork. Or spear to fork, depending on which it'll be, or trap to fork. I'll be taking shrimp traps and crab traps with me, spear fishes, or spear guns, Hawaiian slings, and all my fishing tackle. So yeah, I plan on doing a lot of episodes of, hey, what's for dinner? Jump in the water, catch something, bring it on board, clean it, prepare it, soup to nuts kind of thing. So yeah, there will be some of those episodes coming up. And no, they will not involve clay targets. So if those of you guys have been around for a while and been a fan of mine, you probably know about my infamous cooking episode where I cooked up some skeets. We won't be cooking any skeets on board. So Yolanda says, Grandpa, have you ever got your foot stung by a stingray while walking in the shore? No, I've not been stung by them. I've been slapped by them. I've not been stung by them. I have been not stung really, but stabbed, I guess for lack of a better term, by horseshoe crabs. Growing up in New York on Long Island, we had horseshoe crabs in the water. They were always an issue, and so I've gotten holes in my leg and in my foot from being around them. Quite often they were a hazard when we would go clamming. Low tide there in Port Washington, New York, where I grew up as a kid, we'd walk out in low tide on the sandbars, and you'd use your toes to feel clams in the sand. And these are great big chowder clams that we would get. And so while you're out walking in the sand, sometimes you'd step on one of these horseshoe crabs, and they have this hard, rigid tail that would pop up and stick you. And it wasn't like, you know, a sword where it'd go through you, or it didn't cut you. Just a tip would sometimes pierce your skin a little bit, and they were never really very serious. You know, it's not like I had the thing impale through me, but sometimes I would get a little prick from them from time to time. So once again, something you got to be conscious about and safe about. That's why when I'm in the water, I wear water shoes. So I'm not that I'm a weenie, but just, you know, guys, almost 60 years of experience, you learn something. So cooking tip: to help with seasickness, add ginger to your meals. Yes. Yes, I love ginger anyway, and so there'll be a lot of ginger. I don't. I got seasick one time when I was a kid. I've not gotten seasick since then, so I don't expect that to be a problem. But never say never. So, is there a barbecue on the boat? You couldn't cook loads of fish on it. There is not a barbecue on the boat, but there will be a barbecue on the boat very quickly. In fact, I've been doing some research on that. Worst Marine sells a line of high polished stainless propane-based cookers, but I've also been looking at some other brands to hang on the back of the boat. So, but you know, it has to be stainless steel, otherwise it's just going to rust up back there. So, yes, there will be a grill on the back of the boat. It will not be a charcoal grill, unfortunately, because there's no way to keep charcoal dry on the boat, but there will be a propane grill on the back of the boat. ASMR would work as voiceovers on your underwater videos. Yeah, but you run the risk then of getting into that very boring, monotone kind of thing. So applying the ASMR in the voiceovers, I got to be careful that I don't make the thing boring at the same time. But yes, I've been thinking along those lines, Super Antonio. Hey, Dave, how you doing? Dave's anxiety. Everything's anxiety, man. Rob Jones says, by the way, do you follow Chaser Story? Yes, I do. Channel on YouTube. I heard nothing from them in ages. No activity on Patreon either. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened with Cheeky Monkey, which is what their original name was, and the name of the boat's Cheeky Monkey. I think they're taking some time off, actually. I think they've shut down. I don't know if it's a seasonal thing for them, but yeah, they haven't had a video out in over a month, and may very well. I mean, I did hear some scuttlebutt about them maybe not doing anymore. So I don't know about what's going to happen with Chaser Story or Cheeky Monkey, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of boats this time of year that are suspending their YouTube channels because of the hurricane seasons in various parts of the world. Frankly, I think that's a mistake. You know, if you're going to be out sailing and cruising, it's easier just to move to some other part of the planet that doesn't have hurricanes that time of year. But we'll see what happens. So, hey, Grandpa, hope you are having a great day. Captain Jack 69, I am having an awesome day. I got up this morning, fired up my computer, and I'm talking to you great folks. What more could a fella ask for? Having a great way to spend my morning here. So, haven't even had breakfast yet. I spent most of yesterday playing with my scuba gear, which was fun. I shot a scuba gear packing video for those of you that weren't here earlier. Instead of doing an unpacking video, which seemed to be all the rage now on YouTube, I'm doing a packing video and showing everybody what scuba gear I'm taking with me to sail around the world with. So that video should be out in a day or so. I see more solar cookers on boats. Any thoughts? Yeah, Steve, I've looked at those solar cookers. They're kind of limited in their function with what they could do. But here's the problem. Most of those solar cookers require a high-polished stainless or a high-polished aluminum surface in order to reflect the sunlight and to generate the heat to cook with. Being out on the ocean in a high-salt environment and all that corrosion eats those solar cookers up very quickly. So they're a great idea in theory because you are out there exposed to a lot of sunlight, but that harsh saltwater environment will eat them up. And, you know, unless you're buying a whole lot of metal polish and out there polishing the heck out of that thing all the time, I don't see where they're going to last very long out there. So the jury's still out on solar cookers as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to give it some more time and think about it more and talk to some of the other cruisers that actually are using them and see how well they're holding up. So, exactly, move to someplace else. Yeah, Tracy, exactly. I mean, you know, okay, if you're in the Mediterranean, you can go down to South Central America during hurricane season, get out of the hurricanes. You can go over the Mediterranean and get out of the hurricane season. And you'd be able to continue filming and continue your channel and creating content and having a ball out there on your boat. So I do find it kind of interesting. how many people do that. But some people use it as an excuse to take a break. You know, the Ruby Rose folks, you know, they used hurricane season as an excuse to do a little inland traveling in the United States and head back to England to visit family for a while. So, Sailboat Story put their boat up on the Hard, and they're visiting family in Georgia now. So, a lot of the sailors are just using as an excuse for a little inland break from sailing. But I've been on the Hard long enough. I'd like to get on the water, and then I'll be on the water for a while. Yes, Tracy, inboxing reverse. Yep, showing a packing video. What I'm packing and taking with me. So, at Johnny an hour ago. What time did you go live this morning? I went live 59 minutes and 37 seconds ago. Late. I was supposed to do it at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. I did not. I think we may revise that to being a 9 a.m. Alaska time. But we're still working on the schedule, so it may change a little bit. Unboxing, autocorrect. Yeah, no problem. I have the round magma grill. Yes, I used to have one of those round magma grills. They're really good. Don't get the really big rectangle one. It's not worth it. Uses more gas. Unfortunately, they are expensive. Yeah, I probably would stick with the large round magma. I have some crab boil pots that would fit nicely on top of that, and also my pizza stone fits nicely onto that. Okay, give you an idea where I'm at with it already. I've had one before, and it worked very well. They hold up well. They're great on propane consumption. So yeah, I'll probably stick with one of the large round magma grills. But I haven't decided yet. I'm still looking at some other grills that I may invest and put on the boat. So, but yeah, propane consumption is an issue, especially traveling in a lot of places outside the U.S. So, Austin Boyle lurking. Have a great day. Hey, Austin, glad you're here. Welcome to Lurk. I'm glad you were brave enough to step up and chat with us a little bit. For those of you guys that are lurking out there and just watching, feel free to step up, introduce yourself, say hello. We do not bite much. So, I'll tell you now, with fatty foods like chicken, it will flare with flames. Be careful. Yes, I know that. Yes. Well schooled in how to use those round magma grills. They do like to flame up. Can you add wood chips to add smoke flavor to it? You could, but you make a unholy mess. Those magma grills aren't really designed to be a smoker. If you could put like a little aluminum tray on the side of the grill and put wood chips in that for smoking. It's actually something I'm going to try to do some experimenting with, because I've been a farmer my whole life. Most of the bacon that I eat, I smoke myself. So I'm trying to figure out a way to smoke bacon on the grill so I can buy some fresh side wherever I'm traveling, or you know, butcher a hog, or you know, go hog hunting with my bow on some islands where you're allowed to do that with the necessary permits and what have you, and you know, being able to smoke some meat. So trying to work on that, working out the logistics of that. So you'll have to stay tuned to see how that that would change things. So come to Greece. Great little port. You're in Epidavros. It's my son. I'll have to talk to him later in the middle of a live stream. Anyhow, yes, I will be coming to Greece, man. I'm looking forward to some souvlaki. So Steve's Vid, you can count on me coming over to Greece. Probably going to be there this coming summer. I'm thinking about this coming summer coming over to the Mediterranean and going to Greece. So, yeah, said Rhonda Cheshire Canary can attest to how good my bacon is. She's had some before. Hello from South Africa. Hey, Derek, nice to see you. I destroyed my home grill by putting wood chips in it. Too acidic, and the grates disintegrated. Wow. You had a cheap grill. Sorry, but yeah, I smoke my grill outside. Oh, I wish I could take it with me, but I can't. It's just too big. But I've had the same grill for 20 years, and it's well seasoned, and I smoke in it with wood chips all the time. So yes, it can be acidic. But you know, part of building up a good smoking grill is building up that crust or that patina inside of it. It makes a huge difference. So I don't know, just me. Okay, let's see, if you put the effort into it, like a small metal box soaked chips, yeah, you could smoke with it. But honestly, with the fat in the food built up over time, it totally gives a smoke flavor. Yeah, they can. A grill will build up a crust if you don't clean them good. And that will add some smoky flavor. Grills do get better with time. No doubt about that. No McDonald's drive-thru. Nope. UPS did a wonderful job shipping it from Alaska to Ohio. Yes, they did. I shipped Rhonda down some of my bacon. She won. I actually had offered it up as a prize. I was smoking some bacon, and I offered it up as a prize on my YouTube channel, and I drew names, and Rhonda's name got picked, and we've been good friends ever since. So, the grill of my dreams. Smoke some bacon before I leave. You want some more bacon, Rhonda? Is that what that is? Yeah. Probably not going to be baking any more bacon. I don't have any place to store it or take care of it. So, hey, Arthur, welcome from Texas. That's gone. Welcome from Texas. Glad you made it here, ma'am. Best way to a fan's heart. Yeah, I imagine it would be, Rhonda. But, yeah, there'll be a lot of cooking on board. Mostly, you know, I'm going to be limited, obviously, to seafood for the most part. I do look forward to trying a lot of the local fare wherever I'll be traveling. Every place that I've traveled to in the past, I find it interesting to sample all the variety that there is out there in the world. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. But my budget restricts me to having to do a lot of my own cooking and provisioning, and fishing to add to the larder for the bulk of my proteins. So it's going to be a lot of seafood recipes, ton of seafood recipes. So Keith says he placed a big order with Amazon. Stuff finally came in today. Wow, $7,800. What the hell did you buy from Amazon for $7,800? That's a lot of money to spend at Amazon. I thought I was spending a ton of money on Amazon. I haven't spent that much. Cheshire will store the bacon for you. Oh, yeah, Grizz, I'm sure. I'm sure she would love to store the bacon for me. I'd never see any more of it, but I'm sure she'd love storing it. So, yeah, now the work I've been waiting to do can finally get done. So what all did you order, Keith, that you spent $7,800 and order stuff from Amazon? I mean, I also shop with Amazon. I love Amazon, and I've spent a fortune with them this last week or two trying to get stuff in, but in my belly, in my daughter's belly, yeah. What's your view on batteries, lead acid, AGM, or lithium? You're referring to house batteries, Rob? You know, you buy the best you can afford. That's my view on it. The AGMs and lithiums can be pricey. They're worth the money. Absolutely. If you know, put in the best batteries. I like the sealed batteries, the low, no maintenance batteries. However, if you don't have the budget for it, you don't have the budget for it. So let's put it this way. I would never tell somebody to not go sailing because they can't afford it. You just have to make allowances for the fact that you're dealing with a smaller budget, and so you're not going to have as much money to spend on as much items as what you might like. I mean, that's the long and short of it. So if you want to go sailing and you want to enjoy yourself, do. Just because you can't afford the best batteries, there's no reason to not go. Put the cheap batteries in there and go. And next year you have to replace those cheap batteries again. That's the cost of doing business. So there's a balance between, you know, put in the best you can afford is the order of the day, but go. Still don't not go because of it. I know a lot of people, Rob, I'm going to touch base on this briefly. So I have known a lot of people over the years who have gotten the bug, started the process, bought the boat, and got into the fix-up mode, the prep mode, and never went any further. You know, I have a friend of mine in Seattle. He went out and bought a beautiful 50-some foot sailboat. Gorgeous, gorgeous boat. And, you know, he was always waiting to add this and waiting to add that. Had to have the latest technology, had to, add, you know, upgrade to this and upgrade to that, and rewired this and rewired that. And, you know, he was constantly screwing with stuff, going broke, actually, spending a fortune, upgrading all these systems, making sure he had the latest and greatest of everything you could possibly have, which is great when you're hanging out with the rest of your sailor friends. And, you know, he would puff up his chest and, you know, was a big shot because he had all the latest, greatest stuff on his boat, but he never went anywhere. I mean, he would sail around inside of the harbor there around Seattle and in, you know, in the Straits of Juan de Fuca in that area, but he never went to sea. He never traveled outside of that area. He never went down to California or Mexico. He never went anywhere with his boat. And to me, what a waste and frustration that was. But he had this mindset. He was an engineer that he had to have all the best safety gear and technology on hand. At some point, you got to say, that's great, but I'm going. And you got to go. And what happened is, after a while, his wife got tired of living on the sailboat. They ended up buying a house and selling the sailboat, and they never did go anywhere. So to me, that was just, you know, what a exercise in futility. So, okay, where am I at? Johnny Heck, Rough Seas has AGM, correct? I believe, Johnny, that's what Bob put in. Bob was on here earlier, but he had to take off. I think he put AGMs on there, but I'll verify that when I get on the boat. I do know he put all new battery banks in when he got to Florida. I think he put in 6 new batteries and replaced the battery banks in it. So I'm going to have to sort that out once I get on the boat and determine how much is there and whether it's sufficient for my use or not. So, will you be having a Maintenance Monday sort of thing, or How To Thursday, or something like that? I don't know, Jim, if I'm going to be quite that formal. I'll be doing a lot of content. I don't know if I'm going to have something, you know, like a Maintenance Monday. I will have maintenance videos. Sorry, I'm moving the table here. Had to get another beverage. I don't think I'm going to be quite that specific or organized, but I will tell you I'm going to be generating a ton of content. This is now my full-time job, and I get paid basically for putting video up and having you watch. So the more videos I put up for you to watch, the more you watch, you know, the more money I'll generate from YouTube for that. So I'll be putting up a ton of content. Will there be maintenance stuff in there? Yes. I will create a playlist and put the maintenance videos in a playlist so you can access them. But as a general rule, I'm just going to be generating a whole bunch of content about a whole bunch of subjects. So, what cams do you use for editing? My main camera is a Canon D70. I'm in the process of buying a Sony RX100. Both of those will have dive housings for underwater video. I have a GoPro 4 and a GoPro Session 4, and I'm in the process of buying a GoPro 5 and a GoPro Session 5 as well. So I'll have 2 sessions, one 4 and one 5, 2 GoPros, one 4 and one 5, the RX100, and the Canon 70D. Oh, and I have a JVC Handycam in a housing as well. Although it's 720p and not 1080 or 4K. And the Sony RX100 will probably become the primary dive camera because it shoots in 4K. And I really want that spectacular footage for the underwater stuff. So, and as far as editing, I edit on Adobe Premiere Pro. So, when I edit, obviously these live streams and some of my short videos I just shoot with my cell phone, and those go unedited. But when I'm editing, I use Adobe Premiere Pro. Actually, I use the complete Adobe suite of programs. So, Chris says, Cheshire turned out okay. Smoke ring, some bacon, pick out my... Chris is funny. Didn't get the strong, huh? Okay, Austin says, GoPro 5 is awesome. Been using it for several months. Yeah, what I like about the 5 is that they have the built-in screen on the back. On my 4, I had to buy extra. I had to buy a screen that clips onto the back of it. And then, of course, had to buy bigger housings and all for that. I tell you, you know, the camera I really like lately has been the little Hero, GoPro Session. Here. This little dude. This is a GoPro Session. That's the whole camera right there, guys. That's the whole thing. Shoots in 1080p. So it's broadcast quality, but there's the lens looking at you. There's all your controls. You have this little screen and one button, and that's it. It does link to my cell phone, so I can use my cell phone for some fine control. But this is the whole camera. Now, I've got a thing where I can mount it onto my forehead. I can mount this on... Just threw it. I can mount it onto the dog's harness. I've got all kinds of mounts for it to go all kinds of places. But I've really been into this little Hero Session. The more I'm around it, the more I use it, the more I like it. It picks up good audio. It doesn't need a housing for snorkeling. I can go down to 30 feet with it just the way it is. I mean, I can literally put this in my hand, jump into water, and go down 30 feet and videotape something. So if I see something in the shallow and I want to jump in quickly, I can just grab this and go. So it's a really handy little camera. Plus, you can mount them almost anywhere. And, you know, they're kind of good for covert stuff because you can just kind of set it up on a shelf or something and turn it on and no one would pay any attention to it. Except for the little blinky light. And sometimes you can just cover that with a piece of electrical tape or something. But, yeah, I'm really liking these Hero Sessions more and more. The more I'm around it. The more I use it, the more I like it. So, just an FYI. Let's see, I missed some stuff. Keith Butler says, you know, usually stuff, 800-watt solar system, battery, 6 cubic foot, 12-volt fridge, 12-volt water pump for the sink, shower, Nature's End composting toilet, number 8 full river AGM batteries, and a lot more. Oh, okay, that's what you have on your boat. Cool. Very cool. Sorry it took so long to respond. Had to fit it all in. Oh, okay, that's all the stuff you bought. Wow. I see. Okay. So you had them bring the batteries to you. Wow, that must have been a lot of work. Heavy for them. Grab and Shoot is a GoPro, $50 knockoff, 4K. Was using a 1080 version before. Love them both. Panasonic G7 will be my nice camera. Yeah, the G7's nice. Yeah, G7's nice, no problem. Can even mount it on the floor. Yes, apparently you can mount it on the floor. And apparently it is shockproof. So it didn't seem to be bothered by that at all. So I thought GoPro 5 voice control was a silly gimmick, but I found... really? You use that a lot, Austin? I was wondering about that. I guess I'll have to check that out when I get my 5s. I could see the advantage of that. What is going on? Stuff is pinging like crazy over here. Sorry about that. Apparently, I'm getting all kinds of messages from various people on my phone. Okay. Yeah, Keith is refitting a boat. Not refitting a boat. He's just fixing up a boat. I'm sorry, RV. Yes, RV. Okay. The batteries are 200 amp hour each, but I get 800 amp hours. You got to double everything. Batteries are 200 amp hour each, but I get 800 amp hours. You got to double everything. Okay. So you have 4 batteries, 200 amps each for a total of 800 amps. Just tell it to take video take photo, etc., without pushing any buttons or change. Well, that's cool, because that way with voice activation, if you tell it just to take a photo, you don't get the shakiness from hitting the button, which would be awesome. I could see where that could be a real asset. Cool. Very cool. All right. Well, look, guys, it's been a little over an hour here. Unless we've got any other specific questions, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Time for Grandpa to get some breakfast and get on with my morning constitutional. So unless you guys have some questions or anything for me, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. And we will be doing our next live stream Sunday at 7 p.m., our usual time. But then we'll also go ahead and do these Wednesday morning, although I may move these to 9 o'clock on what is pinging? Oh, it's my iPad. I got too many damn devices here, guys. Can't keep track of all this stuff. Okay. Sorry about that. Oh no, did you guys lose video? Okay, are you guys seeing and hearing anything? Because it looks like some people may have lost the video. Sorry about that. All right, well, anyhow, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, guys. So if you would, please do like and subscribe. If you would, check out my Patreon page if you'd like to jump on there and become a patron. That's growing nicely now that we're getting started. But in the meantime, we will see you guys next week. And I hope you guys have a wonderful week. We'll catch you then. You guys take care and behave and have a really good week. Sorry, Johnny Hag, we got to go, man. Anyhow, we'll talk to you later. Take care, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.